A Journey to the West. Recently I have met with many Khenpos, including several who used to manage academic affairs here. They all told me this book is quite good. It reveals many of His Holiness's experiences and teachings from that time that are not even found in his extensive biography. These Khenpos are usually quite proud, so for them to say this, perhaps it really is true. I have also received various feedback from people in the Han region and other countries as well, including some from Western countries who met His Holiness back then. Through emails and messages, they told me that reading A Journey to the West brought back many memories of their time with His Holiness, and they expressed their gratitude to me. Today, a Khenpo said to me, "It is good that you wrote this before you died." I'm not sure what he meant by that. Since rumors often spread that I am sick or in poor health, perhaps he thought, if you die, we wouldn't have this book. It sounds like my death wouldn't matter, but the book is worth having. So as we go through A Journey to the West, in a way, we are journeying alongside His Holiness, retracing his inner path from that time. You should visualize it this way. We have now reached the middle part, arriving at a certain place. Now we are discussing the turning of the wheel of Dharma regarding the Four Noble Truths. Just as the Shurangama Sutra mentioned the Four Noble Truths, they are discussed here as well. Regarding the Four Noble Truths, previously we discussed abandoning the truth of origin, right? To abandon the truth of origin. The origin consists of two aspects, afflictions and karma. As for afflictions, there are the afflictions of desire, hatred, and ignorance. Ignorance can be divided into not knowing and holding wrong views. Not knowing refers to beings like animals, as mentioned earlier, who generally understand nothing about the law of cause and effect or what to adopt and abandon. As for holding wrong views within various religious traditions, this refers to those who have not realized the ultimate nature of reality. Now we are discussing the second point. Among the many religious traditions worldwide, some advocate that sexual misconduct, stealing and robbery are virtuous acts, and some claim killing certain people and other beings is good. We mentioned this earlier when discussing the praises on the Excellent Noble One, but if you think about it carefully, such acts triggered by desire or hatred even in this life incur the fault of breaking the law, not to mention bringing about happiness in future lives. Acts like killing and stealing mentioned earlier violate the laws of any country, let alone bring any form of liberation. After all, harming others will never bring you benefit. You should remember this sentence. It applies not only to non-Buddhist religions, but also to our daily lives. Each of us must not harbor harmful intentions toward those around us, nor should we engage in harmful actions. Otherwise, as it is said here, harming others, whether mentally or physically, sometimes when we are in a certain position, we may not realize it. We might think we aren't harming anyone, but in reality we are, and this will never bring you benefit. I felt at the time that this statement was very important. As a human being, whether dealing with people around you, leaders, those close to leaders, or your guru, towards all these people, you should try your best not to intentionally harm them in your actions. What is intentional harm? It comes from jealousy, greed, hatred, and so on. Some people truly have bad intentions, even some monastics. Why would a monastic do such things? They know clearly that it will harm others, yet they still do it. This is not good. In addition, although some religions teach methods to seek happiness, they only care about benefiting themselves, their relatives, and their own followers without any consideration for others. This might be slightly better than ordinary worldly people because they at least help their own group. But since they only help their own side, they cannot be considered the best religion. Whichever religious tradition it is, as long as it teaches people to benefit both themselves and all sentient beings, it can be considered the best. Just like our Mahayana Buddhism, wherever there is such a religion, you should embrace it. Everyone here should really reflect on this. The ideology and essence of Mahayana Buddhism are truly invaluable in this war-torn world. Among humanity, the true Mahayana Bodhisattva ideal is the most valuable crystallization of wisdom. Of course, merely having the intent to benefit both self and others is not enough to bring about extensive benefit. It is like an old lady with no arms seeing her son being carried away by torrents, who can do nothing but pray that her son will not be drowned. She has no other way and can do nothing else. So some may only have this much. just a little bit of compassion, but what should we have? We should have the courage and resolution of a hero who leaves his son on the battlefield. We should try our best to accomplish the twofold benefit of self and others. Wherever there are expedient methods for benefiting self and others, we must study and practice them, just like a heroic father who is willing to place his son. Even though he loves his son dearly, he has the resolve to send him to the battlefield for the sake of his country or his people. Similarly, for the benefit of ourselves and others, we must be brave, willing to take responsibility and willing to act. Actually, regarding benefiting sentient beings, His Holiness's analogy might seem a bit difficult to understand at first, but it means that no matter what difficulties or dangers we face, we must face them. That is the meaning. The right method to benefit self and others should be established through scriptural teachings, logical analysis, and actual practice. That is established through the three types of valid cognition. Great scholars and accomplished practitioners in the past always based their judgment or choice on reliable scriptures instead of the assumptions of certain people. This is what we call scriptural authority. Scriptural authority is truly important. Whether we are teaching or practicing, great masters and scholars must have a basis in the scriptures and treatises. It shouldn't be a matter of this is what I think or I feel this way. So scriptural authority is vital. If a method fails to stand up to logical analysis, then it is akin to a person in power proclaiming, "Only by following my teaching will you enjoy a happy life, or else you will suffer." These are just empty words without any logical reasoning. This is not convincing at all. It must be proven through meticulous reasoning. Next, it must be proven by actual practice. If you practice the teaching of a certain religion, you should consequently attain temporary benefit and ultimate realization. One must have such spiritual experience through practice. Without this, mere talk is useless. This is what His Holiness taught regarding the three types of analysis. In fact, whether we study the middle way or tantric teachings, first, there is scriptural authority from Samantabhadra or the Buddha. Second is logical analysis. When we investigate for ourselves, we find no actual flaws. And even more importantly, there is actual practice. When we practice on impermanence, bodhicitta, or the sufferings of samsara, we can truly experience them. It's just that we haven't practiced enough. If you truly practice, you will see that all phenomena are empty. No matter how you analyze it, their nature is indeed emptiness. If all things are impermanent, this too can be fully understood. These insights are brought about through the power of practice. Scriptural authority and logic alone are not enough. His Holiness said that all religious traditions dedicated to the welfare of sentient beings are brought to this world by the power of Buddha Shakyamuni's enlightened activities and great compassion. So here is the answer. Many things in this world that benefit beings are connected to the Buddha. In Hinduism, Buddha Shakyamuni is believed to be the emanation of Vishnu. From the perspective of Buddhism, Maheshvara is the manifestation of Avalokiteshvara. The fact that a religion teaches methods to pursue peace and happiness in this life is good proof that it is an embodiment of the Buddha's great compassion. From the standpoint of their doctrines and how they benefit beings, this can be acknowledged. Take Christianity as another example. Its principle of cultivating compassion and universal love for all beings is the core of Mahayana Buddhism. So you can say that it is also an embodiment of the Buddha's enlightened activities. I once spoke at Sun Yat-sen University about the similarities between Christianity and Buddhism, including how Christianity was influenced by Buddhist principles. Though some parts were adjusted later, Christianity and Buddhism indeed share many common values. Of course, some religious matters are complex to discuss, but at the very least, they have influenced each other to some extent. So no matter who you are, please stay impartial toward all religions that thrive in the world. It is of vital importance that all religions coexist in harmony, unity, and friendship. We should strive for this in the future. Even though some religions have been quite aggressive, they harbor deep-seated hatred toward Buddhism. Historically, they have caused great harm to Buddhism. They see not only Buddhism but also other faiths as a thorn in their side, showing them no respect at all. While we Buddhists treat others with compassion and love, they may seek to eliminate us in various ways. This is why some Mahayana scriptures state that if your country is facing extinction, it is permissible for Buddhists and kings to take up arms to defend it. There are indeed scriptures that describe kings who took refuge in Buddhism engaging in battle. To be honest, besides the Buddhist teachings, which can be proven through scriptural authority, logical reasoning, and meditative realization, it is almost impossible for other religions to do the same. If you wish to know more, you will understand once you consult the books of various major religions. If we truly understand their ideas of universal love and profound philosophies, we should be able to recognize these differences. His Holiness said, "Otherwise, it would be difficult for me in such a short time today to fully clarify the unique features of Buddhism and the views of other religions." He was providing us with some guidance here. His Holiness usually didn't speak this way, but here he was quite direct. In short, if you go through the books from the past 1,000 or 2,000 years, you will certainly develop a sense of deep conviction, especially if you can look at the religious texts. Actually, Buddhism has a vast amount of literature, while other religions may have less. But if you read them all, you will see the truth. Take me, for example. I am a Buddhist, and I live in a place where Buddhism flourishes, but I have never had a biased attachment to my own religion or a dislike for others just because I am a Buddhist. Based on long-term and in-depth study of all religions, I am able to discern what is good and what is flawed. Today, Buddhism exists in three main traditions: Theravada, Han, and Tibetan Buddhism. Among them, what I have long studied and practiced is Tibetan Buddhism. I have unwavering conviction in the supreme and transcendent nature of the Buddhadharma. I am telling you this for a reason. Many of us, after studying so much, should logically have unwavering conviction in the supreme, unique, and transcendent qualities of Buddhism. This is very important. Mipham Rinpoche's commentary on the Ornament of the Middle Way and the Beacon of Certainty explain these aspects very clearly. You should also start now to carefully observe the quality of a teaching. If you want to join a religion, you must consider it prudently before joining. Joining without any observation or analysis is like the Tibetan proverb, "a hungry dog encountering a lung." Although an animal's lung is much poorer in quality than other meat, a hungry dog doesn't stop to observe. It eats as soon as it sees it. Similarly, some of us fail to observe a teacher. As soon as they hear about some teaching somewhere, they rush there immediately. They don't even know who the teacher is. Power is being taught here, or something else is being taught there. They just say, yes, that's the one, without any investigation. After listening to the teachings and establishing a connection, some time passes, and they realize, oh, that person was a fraud. That was a fake teaching. Think about it. Even for a kindergarten student, if they are to be taught by a teacher, we would check if the teacher has a certificate and whether they are a good or bad teacher. We are able to discern. So to observe first before engaging with a religion, a teacher, or anything else. That is the choice of the wise. Otherwise, you are just eating whatever you find when hungry, accepting whatever you encounter immediately. That is a foolish or hasty phenomenon. Similarly, following a religion blindly without any analysis is absolutely unacceptable. In short, the first cause of suffering to recognize is the affliction of greed, hatred, and ignorance. We should find every possible way to be free from them. His Holiness's teachings are very logical. The way he flowed from one point to the next with such smooth logic is truly incredible. If it were us speaking without any notes, just saying whatever came to mind, and His Holiness never prepared in advance. Even when going to India, I mentioned this before, or going to the US, he basically wouldn't even ask for the topic. Then upon arriving, he'd ask, "What should I speak about? What do they want?" They want to hear about the Four Noble Truths. Oh, the Four Noble Truths. Then he would start with a prayer and begin the teaching. Then he would begin the teaching. It was just like the writings of the great masters of the past. Because written words and oral speech are usually quite different. For us, if we are to give a talk, we'd ask, what is the topic for tomorrow? For a school talk, for example, we have the internet now, so it's convenient. We would search for related materials the night before. If it's the Four Noble Truths, we have to think it over. Otherwise, even if you learned them before, you might be all muddled when you start speaking. But His Holiness was different. Back then, there was no internet and no books around. Usually he didn't carry many books, except for a few texts for recitations and empowerments. He did carry part of the long text, The Flight of Garuda, at that time. Especially in Tibet, people would ask His Holiness for major, lengthy empowerments, but in the West, people prefer short empowerments, because they are very busy, teachings like Manjushri Dzogchen or Vajrakilaya. Otherwise, if a session took 3 to 5 hours or half a day just to give out blessings, they couldn't stand it. Westerners only want empowerments that last about 2 hours. For instance, Chetsun Dzogchen only took 2 hours. If it went over by 30 minutes, His Holiness would even apologize to them. So, it's a bit different. Next, let's discuss the second cause of suffering a bit more today. The second cause is non-virtuous deeds, which we must eliminate one by one. First, refrain from killing. Everyone, regardless of who you are, must stop killing. Though some other religions claim that killing animals is sinless as long as you don't kill humans, if you think carefully, you will find that all living beings fear death. Every being experiences pain when dying. Therefore, we must not kill them. For example, even an ant treasures its own life. To avoid being harmed, it will find every way to escape and protect itself. Sentient beings are all the same. The pain you feel is the same pain other beings feel. So, first of all, we must fundamentally cease all killing. This is taught within the basic Four Noble Truths of Buddhism. In the future, if some of you are asked to teach the Four Noble Truths, memorize this part. When you explain it to others, they will feel, wow, this is exactly the same wisdom as His Holiness. Second, refrain from stealing. If one steals possessions that others cherish as their own out of a selfish heart, it not only harms others but also indirectly brings suffering to oneself. Therefore, one should refrain from stealing. If you steal things, you will surely face great trouble in the end. Third, refrain from lying. If one uses lies to seriously deceive others, it not only causes great harm and distress to others, but also destroys the character a good person should have. Thus, lying must be abandoned. Fourth, refrain from sexual misconduct. Engaging in sexual misconduct with another person's spouse brings about immense faults, as mentioned before. What is the reason? There is nothing people cherish and attach to more than their own spouse. Therefore, the negative karma of this act is even greater than that of stealing. Some cases are indeed like this. Fifth, refrain from alcohol. One must abandon the root of all downfalls, alcohol. Drinking alcohol will bring many illnesses to one's body. Many people who drink end up in a terrible state. It also becomes an obstacle to practicing the Dharma. When the mind is out of control, all other precepts will be destroyed. Therefore, one must abstain from alcohol and not drink. Some people around here, including some leaders, time after time, they've quit so many times. Give me a blessing today. I want to quit drinking. I want to quit. Drinking is a real mess, but then after a while, I broke it. I broke the vow again. What should I do? Om Vajrasattva. Please bless me again. I want to quit again. And then, especially some people who reek of alcohol while drinking, demanding blessings even in that state. But after a while, they break it again. It seems some people go through this cycle several times, quitting and drinking again. I don't know what they're thinking. Refraining from these 4 non-virtuous deeds of body and speech, plus alcohol, constitutes the 5 precepts. For anyone who has entered the gate of Buddhism, it is best to abandon all of these. Doing so will surely bring inconceivable merit, especially on the basis of refraining from these behaviors. If one can take the lay vows before another to guard one's own mind stream, the merit will be hundreds or thousands of times greater. So it would be even better if you take the lay vows in the future to carry out virtuous deeds.
Kirgana jirano chupai chupun zolen droa droa bandar gara badna asadar do bandar gara badna asadar bandar gara badna asadar do